Welcome to today's lesson. Now, I was going to do this activity for our afternoon activity, but I realized it's kind of gloomy and rainy outside, so we're going to do some fun art for our afternoon activity to brighten up our day. So today we get to have a science lesson, and we are going to be talking about whether something is going to sink or float. It's also how we measure density. Now, if something is dense, that means all of the molecules that make it up are really tightly packed in there. And if something is less dense, the molecules are just kind of hanging out next to each other, not too close. So today we're going to find out which items on my tray are more dense and sink, and which items are less dense and float. Now this is something you can do at home, so I'm going to let you know the items that you're going to need, okay? So the first thing you need is a tub that you can put water in. Now mine is clear so that you can see what happens in the water, but you can do it in a tub that you can't see through, or you can do it in the kitchen sink or in the bathtub. There's lots of different ways you can do this. And then you need, of course, water. And then you need a towel for your items that sink, and a towel for your items that float. And then the last thing you're going to need is items. So you get to go on a scavenger hunt in your house. Of course, you need to make sure that the items you choose are things that are okay to be put in water. But I've got a lot of things on this tray. I'm going to try and tip it so you can see. Can you see those? So we're going to go through and see what items sink and what items float. And that will tell us which items are more dense and which items are less dense. All right, you ready? Let's make a prediction before each one and see if we can figure out if it's going to float or sink. Okay. So my first item I have is a marker. Now, do you think this item is going to sink to the bottom or float on the top? What do you think? All right, let's see. Ready? Here we go. It floats. Awesome. So that means the marker's molecules are less dense. So I'm going to put this in the float pile. Go. All right, my next item is a piece of coral. Can you see that? This was on our observation table in the classroom. Can you see that? Now, do you think the coral will sink to the bottom or float on the top? Let's see, ready? Oh, straight to the bottom. All right, that means that this coral is dense, and it's denser than that marker. All right, let's put that over here. Okay, the next item I have is a little wooden spoon. You see this? And we've used these in the classroom with our shelfworks, right? Okay, so do you think this is going to float or sink? Are you ready? Let's see. Oh, it's right there on the surface. Right? Whoop, whoop. It floats. That means it's less dense than the coral. Nope, that's in the float pile. Okay, what's next? Ooh, speaking of spoons, I have a regular spoon. See that? Now, do you think this will float or sink? Let's see. Oh, straight to the bottom. Look at that. So that means this spoon is more dense than the wooden spoon. I'm going to put them over here. Bink. Okay, my next item is a Lego. That's a big Lego. Now, do you think this will float or sink? Oh, it floats right on the top. How cool is that? All right. So the Lego is less dense. It floats. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Curious to see what happens with this. Do you recognize this? This is a pencil sharpener, right? Do you think it will sink or float? Let's see. Bloop. Right right to the bottom. Look at that. All right. So that sinks, goes over there. Okay. Now I have a pencil. Now, do you think this pencil will float or do you think it will sink? Let's see, ready? Oh, it slipped out of my hands, but look, it's floating. I can't get it to stay down. Bloop. So that means it's less dense. It's gonna go over here. Float, floats. Oh, this is pretty. This was also on our observation table. Do you see that beautiful purple rock? So pretty. Now, do you think this rock is going to sink or float? Is it more dense or less dense? You ready? Here we go. Oh, right to the bottom. So that means it's dense. It's really dense. There we go. All right. Now, do you recognize this when we use this to make our snack at school? This little spreading knife. Now, do you think this is going to sink or is this going to float? Let's see, ready? Oh, it sank. All right. So that means it's more dense. Okay. All right, I have 3 items left. So here's the first item. You see this? This is a little connector. Let's see, do you think it's going to float or sink? There we go. Oh, it floats. Just hanging out along the top. All right, so it's less dense. Put that over there. And then here's from our counting hearts that we have in the classroom. Do you think this is going to sink or float? What do you think? Let's see. Oh, it sank. I totally thought that was going to float. What? All right. Now it kind of flies around easily, so it doesn't sink as fast as the pencil sharpener, but it definitely is hanging out in the bottom. That is cool. Wow. All right. And our last piece, so just a little wood piece. Do you think this is going to sink or float? Let's see. Oh, it floats right on the top. Look at that. I try to push it down, but it definitely doesn't want to go down. All right, so that floats. So now that we've finished testing our items that sink and float, we're going to look at what those items are made of and see if we can make better guesses when you do it yourself, more educated guesses when you do this yourself, okay? So let's look at the items that are less dense, the items that were floating. We have a wooden piece, a wooden spoon, a plastic Lego, a plastic marker, a wooden pencil, and a plastic shelf work piece. So all of those items that were floating were made of wood or plastic. So those items are less dense. Now let's look over here in the items that sank. They're more dense. We have the coral, a rock. Now this is plastic. This has metal. Even though there's wood, there's also metal. This is also made of metal. And the pencil sharpener is made of metal. So those items are more dense. So things made out of metal and rock or coral are probably going to be more dense than items made out of wood or plastic. I mean, we do have this piece. It's plastic, but it's tightly packed. Can say words. It's tightly packed, the molecules. So that's interesting. Other than this one, all of these items are made from rock or metal. There's some interesting things you can figure out with this experiment. That was fun. I love science. All right, my friends. So have fun doing this at home. See if you can find some other items that maybe I wasn't able to find. A lot of my items were either metal or plastic or wood. See if maybe you can find something that's made from a material that we don't have here. That would be awesome. I'm excited to see what you come up with and what you find, and if your guesses are accurate or any information you can gather from this. I hope you have fun, and I can't wait to see your pictures. Bye, my friends.